Good morning and welcome to the $1 Million Idea podcast. Today I have with me David Vetter.
Hey everybody.
How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm loving today.
You're loving today.
I'm loving today.
Why are you loving today?
You know, it's getting close to my kid's going back to school. I'm pretty excited about that. My son, he's a student down at Grand Canyon University, and he just finished up his internship, and he rocked it. He rocked his internship.
You were one proud dad.
I was one proud dad. Yeah, works for a little company in downtown Seattle. Not so little. It's PitchBook.
Little company called PitchBook.
Little company called PitchBook, yeah. And so he rocked his internship.
There's a shout out to PitchBook.
There you go.
And they have an awesome presentation at the Climate Pledge Arena, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They got the whole suite level and everything like that. It's really impressive. I mean, it is. A lot of name PitchBook all over the place. So you can see a lot of their artwork, and
yeah,
the whole suite level.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It is. That's a nice arena. It really is. It's cool.
So who am I? I'm Dave Wescott, CEO of Evergreen Brands. This is David Vetter, Vice President of Operations, and that's who we are. And we talk about $1 million business ideas. And I think the topic of your son is a good $1 million idea, right? What's he going? He's going to school to be a financial wizard, right?
Yeah, that's what he does. Actually, it's really interesting. So his degree, he's going to finish up his bachelor's degree as he's going into his senior year, and it's for entrepreneurial studies. And what's interesting is that goes all the way back to when he was a kid. And we used to take the boat out on Lake Washington. And my boys were, they'd be tubing and doing all that stuff and having a lot of fun. But we'd always see all these beautiful houses. If you've ever been up into the Seattle area and you've been around Lake Washington, you see all these gorgeous homes. And my kids were asking me, they're like, hey, Dad, what do we have to do, to buy a house like this one day? Who do I have to work for in order for me to do that?
Yeah.
And I told them, I said straight up, I was like, none of these people work for anybody else. They're all their own bosses. So that was actually the inspiration. And so what's funny is, so as they went through their little phases like kids do about different careers and stuff. And at one point he wanted to be an orthodontist, because he had just got his braces done.
All right.
But then after we really thinking about, do I really want to look in people's mouths all day long? Which is great for some people, I'm sure. It's a great career. But at the same time, he's like, I just want to be a business owner. I hear so many stories from TransBlue. He just wants to be a business owner now. So that's his study. And that's what he was doing. And that's why he's got that internship at PitchBook, giving him just some more.
So he's planning it early.
Knowledge.
He's setting his goals from an early age. He's out on the boat, 7, 8 years old. He's talking to Dad. How do they get these beautiful houses that are worth millions and millions of dollars?
Yep.
And be your own boss.
Be your own boss.
That's basically what the message was. He took that to heart. Mm-hmm. And for the next 10, 12, 14 years, whatever it's been, he's been grinding towards getting that degree, and he just finished up at PitchBook.
Yep, focused, absolutely focused. Going back to Arizona, he actually leaves next week, and starts up his senior year. And he goes to Grand Canyon University. They got a great internship, or not an incubator program.
That's lots of businesses.
There. Yeah, for lots of businesses right on campus. Let the students, they let all these startup businesses up to I think it's 7, I can't remember what, I think it was somewhere around 700 million or something like that. So if they're doing up to that, you can actually have a business on campus. Wow. As long as you bring students in to kind of help with that program.
I think we need to open up a TransBlue office down there. Get it cracking.
I think we just did.
Yeah, we just did. We need to get it in with the university. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So one piece of advice. You've been in business 30 years, 30 plus years, mm-hmm. with some very big names.
Yeah.
He's getting out of college next year. What's that one piece of advice? What's that $1 million idea that you're going to share with him as he becomes an entrepreneur?
Listen to others.
Listen to others.
Yeah. Get advice from those that have done it. And we do that as franchisees, or franchisors. We offer advice to the new franchisees, but the advice that I would give Jacob and have given Jacob is, because teenagers can be pretty full of themselves at times. Yep. And but you know what? You don't know everything, and you'll always think that you might. Sometimes, especially when you're a business owner, you're kind of the top of the heap. Who is your peer? Who are you reaching out to? Who do you get that advice for? You may think you have a great idea, but there might be a better one out there.
Right.
And sometimes your great idea, you may not see what's behind you. You know, it's almost like getting advice, almost, I guess, like what in the military where you got like your wingman or something.
Yeah, your wingman, yeah.
So I just threw that out because Top Gun's,
I love Top Gun, and it just came out on, you can buy it now for $19.95 or some crazy dollar amount like that on Prime Video, and in 2 years it'll be free.
Yep.
That's just a little tip for all you who want to wait. But that's good advice. So you're saying, hey, get in with those mentor groups, get in with those things. Interestingly enough, I believe that that's very true, and so I had an opportunity to go back to school and learn some things. And I was like, man, I really want to do this. I really want to be able to level up because I'm always trying to level up.
Right.
And so in my experience of leveling up, what I learned was that sitting there in a room full of kids who were in college, that the first time around, maybe I didn't pay attention as well, as much as I should have. But what I learned was that when I sat in that classroom, every single one of the things that they talked about was something that we do today.
Yeah.
There was nothing new that I learned in that experience.
At
Not
Harvard?
one thing at Harvard, that's right. Not one new thing did I learn. But what I learned was that had I paid attention the first time around, or maybe gone to a better school the first time around, if I had really taken heed to the things that they were teaching back then, I would have been able to take my business into light speed.
Oh, yeah.
And I learned just going through the process and learning, oh man, yep, I learned that in 2005 and that cost me $100,000. And I learned that in 2009 and that cost me $1 million. Or, I'm just making it up. But you have these huge lessons in business as an entrepreneur that you learn along the way. And how many people have been in business or started a business or have a part-time business right now that is kind of so-so? Right? Or how many people don't make it? Like SBA says, 75% of the businesses don't make it past 15 years, whether they're sold, acquired, bankrupt, whatever, for a myriad of different reasons. But the thing I learned about going back to school was that everything that I needed to do, everything that I needed to learn was right there at my fingertips. And to your point of, sometimes you're a little full of yourself. Sometimes you think you know it all, and maybe you don't pay attention, or maybe you don't know how to apply everything that they're teaching you.
Right.
And so those internships and that growth is really important. But also what you said is have a mentor.
Yeah.
Right? Really dial into mentorship and have somebody that you can talk to and have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and have somebody that you can work with, a peer that's peer-to-peer. Because, as Jacob, graduates from college and makes his millions, right? Because I'm sure he's going to do it.
Oh, yeah. He's focused.
Who's he going to talk to? Because he won't be able to go back to all his buddies from school and say, hey, look, I just bought a hot red Ferrari. They're going to be like, cool. We're not hanging out with that guy anymore. Like people who you're friends with, and it's not bad about the friends, but they don't understand the journey.
Right.
And so it's really important, I believe, to have that peer group, to have those connections that you can bounce ideas off of, people who are going to give you good advice, people who are going to help you navigate those waters, and people who have been through business, can really lend a lot of expertise and a lot of advice to who you are as a business owner. So I think those are great points. I had an opportunity to meet with a guy who's been in business yesterday, since early 2000s in janitorial business, and they're doing $1 million a year in janitorial. And he's like, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, not bad.
Pretty good. And he's like, hey, I'm going to I'm thinking about franchising, or I'd like to learn more about the franchising. And I said, well, before you franchise, you might want to have a war chest, right? Because franchising takes a lot of time, and it can be an expensive venture. So also, like, thinking about your business with the end in mind. And we talk about that a little bit today in our leadership meeting, but really thinking about, what does the end look like? What kind of house am I going to have? What kind of car am I going to drive? When do I sell? How long do I want to do this? What does my life look like?
BHAG.
That's right, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Hashtag Jim Collins, right, to anybody out there. But just really thinking about what it looks like at the end, I think, is so important. And it's cool, and Jacob's writing down these goals. He's going through college, but, how quickly are you going to crush those goals?
Exactly.
And every kid is different, right? Not every kid has those goals. Not every kid progresses at the same level. Not every kid is interested, in the same thing. So if we've got some entrepreneurs out here who are in business,
right,
and they're trying to take their business to the next level, what's one piece of advice you have for them?
If you're trying to take your business to the next level. Wow.
Let's say you're that 750,000 guy, you've got a couple of trucks on the road, or you got a couple of vans on the road, whatever you're doing. You've got 9 or 10 employees, and you're trying to level up, and you're trying to be more than you are today.
Trying to be more than you are today. That's not at all uncommon, right? I mean, you see a lot of companies out there that get themselves to a point and they just kind of plateau right there. I was actually talking to somebody earlier this week, that was telling me about it was actually their father, and or it was the brother, it was the brother, and how he owned a construction company, but he was doing the work himself. And he's always been in business, and he's always got referrals and everything, but his business just kind of plateaus right there. And so this may not apply to everybody, but if you're trying to break through, one of the things is you have to create a plan that allows you to stay on strategy and on culture. Those would probably be the two things that one thing I know, but it's creating a strategy where you have a plan and you let others help you bring in the staff, bring in people that will help you level up. Because there's two things that I usually see when businesses are stagnant. One is they're self-performer. So if you're out there and you're on the construction crew yourself, if you're the big leader and you're doing a little sales, but you're also out on the job sites and you're doing this and you're doing that, there's only so much that you can do, right? You plateau because you are that person. For example, like say I had a friend that owns her own hairstyling, right? And the thing is, but she's the hairstylist. You can only cut and style so much hair. You just plateau out.
That's right.
If you're on the construction crew and yourself and you own the business, you can only do so much construction yourself. You need to bring in team members. The other thing is sometimes not all the people that are with you when you get started are the right people to carry you to the next level. Bring somebody that has that experience that can level you up. Bring somebody that is from that you actually look up to in your industry. Find those individuals that are used to that. If you're trying to build an enterprise business, those $1 million ideas, and you're trying to level up, you need to find people that know what success looks like. Bring the people in that knows what the organization will look like, knows what the accounting would look like, knows what the staffing will look like, knows what the facilities will look like, knows what the customer and the sales cadence, that has seen it happen. It's not new to them. It's not fresh to them. Level up what you're doing. Now, some of the members of your staff can come with you, but it's sometimes in order to break through and bust through, because you haven't seen it, bring in people that have that experience.
I wish I would have brought my notepad. You brought some fire right there. You brought some fire. Dave brought the fire, man. That's that hot barbecue from Memphis, Tennessee right there, man. That's one of the biggest challenges, and I believe that it's true, is the people who got you where you are today aren't going to be the people who are going to take you where you need to go.
Yep.
That is
Not
such
always.
a true statement.
Yeah.
And there may be some that do, but you'll see, people who are in a business and they might be at the top of the business, and then they kind of, they become, middle to upper, and then middle,
Right.
and then, those kind of things can happen in a business. And you also see people who are in the business and then they go away for one reason or another, but it's because they're not the right person to take the business where it needs to go. And this is so true, because as an owner, you feel loyal to
Yeah.
these people, and like,
Friends.
that's right. You become friends with them. You become close with them. You build relationships with them. And then you have to come and say, hey, man,
Yeah.
you're not cutting the cheese the right way. You're not cutting the mustard, or however you want to say it. But those conversations are never easy. And you know what? It's never easy on the person, because you have to remove them out of a position.
Right.
I can think of one that I just went through this personally myself a few years ago. Never an easy thing, right?
No.
And you can lose some friendships over it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
that can happen, right? You can really like somebody as a person, you can really be there, but the business isn't going to go to the next level unless you make those hard decisions and you make it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not your job to level them up. It's their job to level themselves up. And you see guys who want to grow. Like we have guys in our business today who are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take some teaching classes, right? We have one of our guys taking teaching classes so that he can be a better teacher, so that he can be a better trainer, so that he can offer better franchise support.
Yep.
Yes, it's one of his rocks and goals, #EOS, because we use EOS. I'm just going to throw that out there. But he's leveling himself up. He's making himself better.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, when you see that productive growth, it's really good. The other thing that you see is that somebody's doing a really good job as a manager, and maybe you promote them, to a higher level position, and that higher level position crushes them. They're not ready for it. They don't have the maturity level for it. They don't have
Right.
the knowledge or the skill level to be able to handle it. And I think that's one of the places where I see you lose good people, because if you would have kept them right where they would have done an amazing job there forever.
Right.
But because you need to grow and you need to continue growing, you move them along too fast. And sometimes that can create, an issue. So if you've got a really good operator, you don't want to move them up too fast. Let them operate. Let them be successful. Let them, get your business where you need it to be.
And sometimes, I absolutely agree with you, and sometimes you'll see that is you'll have a great operator, maybe someone that's really good in your operations team, or someone that's really good on your sales team, and the idea is, hey, they're my best salesperson, I'm going to promote them. Well, sometimes that works. Sometimes they have that leadership quality. They're great. They can be a great mentor to a new team or help you grow your sales team. But other times they're really just good at sales. Yeah. And that's their sweet spot.
That's right.
And same with operators. I've seen so many teams where the team was doing great, had a whole group of great operators. You take one and you move them into leadership role, and maybe that just gets disconnected, does not connect with the other operators that he's got underneath him now. Doesn't really, that leadership role at that level may not be right for them. And then also the weight of it, right? I've seen that happen too, where people get promoted up and the weight of the responsibility, the weight of the pressure, absolutely. But then and that brings back to what we were talking about before, getting mentorship, finding people that can give you advice. And those people can be the mentors, like find a mentor, or bringing people from your industry that understand what a larger scale operation looks like, knows how to run a larger operation, bringing that person on board.
That's right.
And sometimes those people that you bring in might have skill sets that help level up the staff that you wanted to grow. And that's the whole idea, growing businesses, getting people up there, bringing in the right staff. You get the right staff. If your operation is growing and you get that staff in there, more opportunities show up for those people that are the old friends. Right?
Yeah.
That would be
the old friends.
The old
oh,
friends.
Gosh.
Did I really say old?
Isn't that tough?
Did I really say old? I had a birthday the other
you did
day.
say old
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
You did have a birthday. When was your birthday?
On the 10th, August
on the
10th.
10th. Happy birthday on
Thank
the
you,
10th,
sir.
Dave.
Yeah. I'm becoming an old friend.
You are becoming an old friend. You know, that's true. That's good. That's fun. You know, the thing about it is, too, that you're talking about, you know, bringing those people in. And just as a story that might resonate with some of you, not early on, but about midway through where I am now, I think in 2013 or 14, I can't remember the year exactly, but we brought on a contract with Radio Shack. And it was a $1.2, $1.3 million contract.
Right.
And, you know, we are in the outsourcing business. So a work order or a project comes in, we dispatch it to a subcontractor. Subcontractor goes out, services location. And, you know, the dollar amount on these work tickets, like the average work ticket, I think is somewhere around $358.
Oh, it's not very big.
Not very big, especially when you're paying a sub, right? And you're going out and you got a dispatch and so on and so forth. So there's not a lot of money into it, right?
Yeah,
you
so
want
you're into
volume.
the volume of it.
We're into the volume. But what we do is, you know, back then, you know, we'd hire somebody maybe $20 an hour. And, you know, we would put them in charge of the contract and in charge of, you know, dealing with the subcontracting and dealing with the management. And, you know, on some level then it felt like that was a lot of money to pay somebody because you needed so many of these people because only what we figured, you know, they could handle, you know, 8 to 10 work orders a day from conception to completion, closeouts, calls, you know, so on and so forth. And what we found was that those folks didn't have the level of expertise to keep the contract. So, you know, there's a delay on one of the repairs for the Radio Shack, and the facility manager who hired us, who brought us on, calls us, and he's, you know, yelling at the guy on the phone, and the guy on the phone tells him, F you, man.
Ooh.
And, you know, we get fired from the contract. I've told this story many times, but, you know, we get fired right there on the spot, $1.3 million down the drain.
That's a brutal way to get fired.
That's a brutal way to get fired. But the truth is, whose fault was that? And this is one of the things I think as a business owner, this is one of the things as a senior leadership member you have to look at. If you're a member of that executive team, if you're that owner, who made that decision to hire that guy?
And put them in charge
and
of that.
who decided that that was the wage and that was the level of the person? Well, you know, what happens is there's a lot of lessons to be learned there. One is, are you charging the right amount for your services?
Right.
Are you charging the amount that's on par with the industry so that you can be profitable and pay somebody the right amount of money? And are you putting the contract in the hands of somebody who has the experience to run that kind of contract? Or to your point, are you handing that contract over to somebody who's underqualified, underpaid, maybe not underpaid, but underqualified, and doesn't have the level of expertise, and the sheer weight, the sheer magnitude of the responsibility crushes them, and they aren't able to execute, and it costs the company over $1 million. And what I learned right there was I've got to find people who have the experience to run these type of contracts. I've got to pay way more money, and I pay way more money, and my payroll gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But here's the deal. You make more money with the client because the client is satisfied, the client is happy, they give you more business, they give you more return business, and you execute the way that you should. And so it's like, you know, you're jumping over dollars to catch pennies when you are putting the wrong people in place of your business. And so many people who, entrepreneurs, they're so afraid to add to payroll.
Oh, yeah.
They're so afraid to add to payroll. Or they make the really big mistake and they overpay and they overhire. Because that also happens too. And you might see it on the sales side where you're paying your sales guy way too much money.
Right.
Versus what he's bringing in.
Yep.
You know, I had a call with a headhunter and he says, you know, if you want that $10 million guy, this is the price tag. And then we've seen some of our franchisees hire at that price tag.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not getting a $10 million guy.
No.
So they're putting the wrong people in the wrong seats.
Yep.
So as you're building your business, you want to think about those seats. You want to think about those people. You want to put the right people in place. You want to treat your people the very best. And you want to make sure that you don't put underqualified people in positions to run significant pieces of business, because they will ultimately fail. And the business can fail because of those things.
Yeah, that would be that's scary. You're exactly right. I mean, I can look back at just throughout my career and see people that, pound their chest pretty good.
Yep.
They sound like they're gonna just rock it for you.
Yep.
And then you bring them in, and then they're not performing the way, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give them coaching, and they still aren't doing it. You give them coaching; they're not doing terrible. They're doing okay. But like you said, you're overpaying. You should be able to get something better. They're not leveling up. And in the end, you've created all this infrastructure to handle, like what you said, $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
You're only getting $5 million. You're
Yeah.
halfway where you need to be. And now all of your goals are now severely impacted because you had a budget for $10 million. You had gross profits you were expecting
Yep.
from $10 million. Now all those plans are slowed down severely. And I know you. You're always thinking of new ideas. You're
Always
really
thinking
good
of
at
new
new
ideas.
ideas. And so if we had someone in our operation that was holding us back, I know that that would probably get under your skin a little.
It'd probably drive me crazy, Dave. It'd probably drive me
wouldn't
crazy.
sleep. Yeah, exactly.
Since we're old friends, we can say this. We can talk like this.
Yeah,
we can have these conversations.
Yes.
But $1 million idea. I think we've touched on some amazing points here today. Get a mentor, lock in a mentor, make that happen. Hire the right people, put the right people in. Don't underhire, don't overhire, but hire the right people, and really focus on what it's going to take, and build the business the right way. Focus on culture, focus on people, focus on processes. Those are the big takeaways that I took from the call. Anything that I missed on my end, or you got something else there?
The big thing that I heard you tell me today, and what I heard was have that BHAG, that big, hairy, audacious goal, and don't allow the team that you may have today to hold you back from getting and reaching.
I love
goal.
it. My
That's my
BHAG
point.
is $100 million a year into charity.
That is fantastic.
That's a
goal.
crazy goal.
That is a fantastic.
It's
goal.
crazy, man. It blows my mind every time I say it.
It actually sounds really cool.
It does sound cool. It does. I
sounds very
like
cool.
it. It's a good mission. So we're about to wrap up. And what's your favorite football team?
Seahawks.
Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle Seahawks. I'm a homer.
You're a home guy. You're a home team guy. When's the first game?
We got Monday Night Football coming up. 3 weeks away?
3 weeks away.
Yeah, we're playing Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos.
That's right. Are you going to the game?
I'm not going to the game. I'll definitely be watching it, but yeah, I'm not gonna make it to this one. I think it's sold out. I think it's been sold out for a while. I'm
Yeah,
sure
we
there's
want to
tickets
see Russell
somewhere.
get hit hard.
God, that would be so great.
Rock
Yeah.
Russell.
I don't know. I gotta be honest. I'm a little nervous, but I can't be. Right? It's my team. I'll be rooting for him. I'll be wearing the colors. I'll be yelling loud.
It's your squad.
It's my squad. Yep.
You helped them win the Super Bowl.
I did. I yelled very loud. For the Super Bowl.
That's right. I want to put this on record right now. Without Dave Vetter, the Seahawks do not win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
And the reason I think that we missed that we didn't win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, you probably weren't at the game.
Right.
If you would have been there, that might have just been what we needed to forego that interception.
Right.
Okay, well, we're coming to an end. Dave's favorite team is the Seattle Seahawks. I also love the Seattle Seahawks because they are the home team town. So I'm going to be pulling for the Seattle Seahawks. And if Todd Chapman, you watch this, because Todd Chapman is on our team. If you're watching this, Todd Chapman, the Broncos are going down.
Going down.
Going down.
Going down.
Hey, we'll be back next week. $1 Million Business. Check us out. And if you like this, check out the website, www.transbluefranchise.com. Check us out. And if you want to hit us up, I'm available on LinkedIn, Dave Wescott. Look me up on LinkedIn. Same beautiful face you see here, you will see on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for Dave, hit him up on LinkedIn at Dave Vetter or David Vetter on LinkedIn, and he has the same profile picture, so he's going to be looking good. Thank you very much for your time, and it was
Thanks,
it was a great afternoon.
It was awesome, Dave. Thanks.
Awesome.